G'day everybody and welcome to TFC Open Mic Season 3 Episode 23, and Mark titled this one Bye Bye Dubs, Say Hello to Damage. Got a few people in here tonight. Hello Brian.
If a game ports to HTML in 2020 and no one's around to play it, was it worth it?
And then we have Hefe. Hey Hefe.
Howdy everybody.
And we have Rum.
Hello, everyone.
And then we have Venom.
Good evening.
Hello. Just to recap, of course, we had a lot happen this week. First off, we had a notice on PvP balance fixes. Basically, Tier 7 turret bug, instead of having an additive bonus of 25% for each turret, they discovered a bug in which the group bonus for Tier 7 turrets was being calculated multiplicative. They also identified an accuracy issue, and basically it looks like both of these are going to be changed, if I can read this date correctly, towards the end of June.
June 26th, I believe.
Yep, June 26th. So I thought I'd start the discussion off with this. Brian, thoughts?
All right. First of all, bug. It had been that way for a while, and there were suspicions that a lot of things worked multiplicatively. And, I'll just throw another under the pile of salt of all of the players saying, hey, something's going on, there's a problem. So this whole post in general, I don't like to say things bad about it because this is a lot of what we asked for from Kicks. We're getting information, we're getting what the problem is, we're getting a fix to the problem, and we're getting it well ahead of time. This fix is going to be in, 2.5 weeks from now? So this is a lot of what we asked for. Shut up, all you people in the forums. I'm concerned about the fixes themselves, mostly the PvP one, making the turrets additive instead. I think that while they can go in and fix that code, I think this is going to cause major problems for the rest of the game. Just in general, I think they would have been better off fixing the base damage numbers and the group bonus, making group bonus a small percentage of damage or something else. CM accuracy, there was an issue. I guess they're resolving it. I really wish they would not act Zealous, because first of all, they're banning the Zealous from so many targets that it doesn't really have a use anymore, unless you're talking low to middle tier FM targets. And those are the players that really need to get going and get up in the game. And the Zealous is one of the main keys to do that. And I'm not sure if it's currently in low tier now, but it's very important for those players. And just let them have this one. Don't even try to change the duality countermeasure. If they can even do that properly, just these fixes, yeah, it's in tier 2 of the FM right now. So I don't know why they're doing these fixes. They seem to be doing more harm than good. And they also seem to be a lot more work than they're worth. I'll have to trust them that everything will balance out at the end, except that I don't trust them because this last raid, where effectively 12x the damage because of the changes that they made with the armor and the not having the healing, and the last bounty, which people did, but it wasn't really a base hitting event, and I don't think Kixeye made their money on that. I'd love to see their May financials, because they were often so many gold offers near the end. It seemed like they were having money problems. So when you talk about balancing and Kicks, no, they haven't been doing that lately.
Yeah, some good points. I am very happy that they were upfront about it and that they have explained it and that they are giving us a heads up, which is what we've not seen in the past. I mean, how many times have we been in a situation where, oh, we're going to put this change in tomorrow and then everything explodes? So I certainly agree with you there. Hefe, you back? No, he's still out getting my beer. Rum, how about you?
Well, I've got a question for Brian because he's the math guy. Aren't the numbers exponentially larger when you're dealing with multiplicative fields versus additive fields?
Yeah, It's
So how
1.25 raised to the n.
right?
Where n is the number
How
of
can
turrets
a
that you-
company that is based off numbers and money and basically our money, how do you make a mistake with a number that is exponentially larger than what it's supposed to be and you don't recognize it, or you wait as many months as they have to say, well, now maybe we need to fix it, and we continue to give them money?
I mean, I don't have a good answer for you. There really isn't one. It's rumored that the people that created the turrets and that bonus are separate from the people that created the deflection armors. And if that's the case, those two teams did not communicate to each other very well what kind of damage that needed to be defended against.
Which seems to be the root evil of all the damage from Kixeye is a lack of communication, not only with us, the players, but within their own teams that produce the game that, again, receive money from the players. It's almost like there is no fiscal responsibility as long as they see gold coming in. Once the gold starts slowing down, it's like, hey, guys, now we got to fix it.
I mean, that's just basic economics. People respond to, and you're right, unless significant decline versus what they were hoping, they're not going to change. I mean, it's unfortunate, especially when we're talking about a subjective experience like fun in a game, especially on a quote unquote free to play game. But that's just business.
Yeah, it's only business. How many times have we heard that? It's not personal, it's only business. But, you know, if they make a fix and it's good for the game, I hope it is. Trust deficit is a word that we've thrown around a lot. I'm kind of there. I'm kind of waiting to see what they actually do.
I just want to watch the world burn. Like, I want to see what kind of crazy stuff comes out of this. Because, I mean, fixes don't go well. Things happen. Test servers are different from live environment. Okay. Like, things are going to go wrong. But they're messing with something that's been in the game since fire supports existed. And I actually also want to know if they're leaving the fire supports on. They only said they'd be doing this to the turrets. And I guess that leaves them with a certain particular number. But there's some delineation that can be had there. There's
Are you? Sorry to interrupt, Brian, because they specifically talk about the tier 7 turrets with the new bonus. Are you saying that you're thinking there's something going on with the fire support, or your concern is that the change will mess with the fire support?
I think probably both, because they're the same way. It looks like they're additive in game, but really they're multiplicative. It's how when you get to 240%, you could damage a king's writ back in the day. And I remember I hashed out the math in an article where it's like you need 1400%, but people are saying at 240% that they're breaking king's writ deflection, and that doesn't make sense. Something is wrong. And when they change something that's a multiplicative damage stack that is both the tier 7 turret and the fire support, they only mean to change the turret, but I don't know if they wanted to change the turret and the fire support, or if changing the turret will also mistakenly change the fire support. Two different things are multiplicatively here, and I guess they only want to work with one, but it's going to be interesting to see how fire support affects your attack going forward.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I read something in the chat that somebody was talking about a hard reset. We've already had a couple of hard resets, and it took them, what, less than a year each time to screw it up? Why do we think a hard reset is going to work again? Or going to work, period?
When people say hard reset, I think they mean bringing all PvP things back to resistance-based gameplay, where you'd keep your armor values, or extraordinarily high armor values at least, on current conquerors, and everything is resistance is now, deflection doesn't matter anymore. Basically, as if the PvE-PvP split of a few years ago never happened.
Right.
And the difference is the turrets would have enough damage such that they'd be able to wipe out non-conqueror hulls.
Okay, so
And
my
that's where
question
you
is,
get the difference from.
my question is, these new conquerors have been hard coded with deflection in place, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean they would basically be worthless at that point? And all of us that have coined them or built them or whatever, all of that time would be lost again with no compensation from the company?
I think they would have a massive rebalance, and it would take a very long time and a lot of testing and a lot of math, which, well, in order to get them to the point where, like, let's say, if they kept the turrets about the same, like instead of having a very high missile or pen deflection, your missile storm cruiser would have bonus pen resist, and you could build off of that, or impact cruiser bonus ballistic resist, and that would help them deal with these turrets that would normally one shot basically everything else. I don't think that if this were to happen, and I don't think it will happen, by the way, I don't think they'll go back to resist. It's been too long. If it were to happen, I don't think that they would leave everything such that the current Conqueror hulls are now useless, just that they function differently, but will be able to perform the same tasks that they were. And the weapons themselves would probably also have to have their deflection values changed. 10% explosive or 15% explosive defense now, instead of like a Gale being the same.
Since all of these items are the mainstay of the game, you're basically talking about at this point reprogramming the game. If you got to do turrets,
well, again, I don't.
If you got to do turrets, if you got to do buildings, if you got to do ships, if you got to do armors, what's left?
And again, I don't think this is going to happen the way that some people are calling for a reset to resistances. It would be an incredibly labor-intensive project and require a lot of testing and work, and they're busy making new dubs at this point in time, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on my new cruise.
Yeah, that's some good points. Hefe, welcome back. Your thoughts on the PvP T7 bonus fix?
I just wanted to jump in on try and explain a little bit more what Brian was saying as far as, like, we've sort of veered off that topic, but it appeared for a long time that they did not, they weren't willing to admit that the fire support and the tier 7 bonuses were multiplicative, and they were constantly shown as being additive in the game. And I think there's some other things that are shown as additive that are shown as multiplicative in addition to those two factors, potentially. When they changed them, since they did not appear to even understand that they were calculating them wrong, that they seemed to be somewhere very close to each other in their calculations, that, what Brian, I just wanted to reemphasize what Brian was saying, that trying to change one without changing the other, I don't know, it might be more difficult than we think, because for a long time they were showing these things as being one way in the game, it displays, but in reality they were something different. I'm just going to have to wait and see what actually happens. It's just that with past history, I don't have a huge amount of trust that it's going to get pulled off correctly, and you're going to have a lot of upset people, which already have a lot of upset people, and it seems like they're taking the hardest route to basically just balancing PvP. It seems like they could have changed some numbers around, changed the armor, increased the armor a little bit, and fixed the problem, and then realized in the future, don't make the deflection environment, don't make the tier 7 bonus damage related. Make it something else.
Hello, Daniel. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Hey, it looks like we lost Brian there.
Oh.
I know he was having some internet issues. Venom, your thoughts on the PvP change?
Well, firstly, on that hard reset, I don't think it's going to be possible. At this point, we're just too far down the line, it's just going to be way too complicated. And to get the math right on that would just, it would be way too complicated, just not worth doing. As for the proposed idea of changing it from multiplicative to additive, that's just doing that on its own isn't a fix. It's going to cause a swing in the opposite direction, which isn't advised either. If they're going to change that stat, they're going to have to change deflection values on hulls, deflection values on armors. They're going to have to work really hard to balance the numbers. They could have done balancing the numbers without changing the 25% bonus to additive. It's just a matter of working the deflections. It's really not that hard, but they're making it out that it's harder than it actually is. Where it comes down to how one of the reasons they're probably looking to change it to additive is that they want to add 2 more ballistic turrets, and that would project the damage really quite high. But again, you can change the percentage that it's given instead of changing it to additive. And again, armors with specific values of deflection, again, it's easy to work that out. It's not a difficult math problem. But it seems they're going the harder way around than the easy way around.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments in chat about testing, and yes, hopefully there will be a significant amount of testing that happens prior to this going live, because this is one that could really skew things in a bad way. Daniel, your thoughts on the PvP?
I don't have any thoughts on it right now. I'm just trying to get back into the game after my long vacation from it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's the PvP piece of it. We also had some other stuff this week. Of course, we've got 2 new campaigns. One of them is called From the Ashes campaign, which is for the Phoenix, and then we've got Turn the Tides campaign. Has anyone completed both of those? I think, Brian, you said you'd done the Phoenix one.
I don't think Brian's back yet.
Well, maybe not.
Who's showing there?
Has anybody else finished them?
I have almost finished the Tides part of it. I don't know that I'm going to do the Phoenix part of it myself. I think I still have plenty of Phoenix tokens left.
Okay, I know Brian did mention that he saw he said the targets were familiar for the Phoenix one, but the damage seemed to be a little bit higher. So not sure on that. And of course, the other change that we had, of course, was the new subsector resource bases. These, of course, took over from the Drac bases. I think we've got the Siege one out, and is the Uranium one out as well?
Yep.
Yes.
I believe so. Okay, I had not had a chance to look at that part of it. So what are your thoughts on these?
If you have Hydras, you can celebrate. If you have Bucks, you're going to cry in the corner.
Well, if you have Hydras, you can do one, but you can't do the other one, right?
What do you mean?
The Skirmish and the Siege.
Yeah, it's split in 2.
Right,
One
that's what I'm
gives
saying.
you base parts, one gives you uranium. So,
But you can't do the Skirmish with Hydras, can you?
no. Why?
Okay.
Why would you try and do?
No,
Well,
I mean you need to.
What he's saying is you can't do the siege with the Buccaneers.
You said
Yes.
if you had Hydras, you were happy. That's what I understand.
Oh, at least probably for the Siege one. I know Mark posted a video earlier today showing a couple of run-throughs. I was on a hangout last night where I watched a couple of run-throughs. I know these are also co-op, so what I do not know is if somebody has Hydras and somebody comes in and helps with Bucks. Does anybody know how that's working?
No, I don't.
You
Check.
need both Bucks, or both Hydras, sorry, to do it. If you have just one set of Hydras and one set of Bucks, you're going to time out and cost yourself a lot of damage. if you have 2 bucks, you're never going to make it. It's just your only chance really is 2 hydras.
The funny thing that I found about this target is I tried to drive it carefully. I timed out. I took a fair amount of damage. I healed the fleet, sent it back in on auto. It completed it with much less damage.
Yeah. The auto seems to be working a little bit better than actually driving. But yeah. Don't try with bucks. It's not worth it.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not very educated on this target. Do the mines deal a lot of damage, or are they just meant for slowdown?
They just slow you down. It's the biggest pain in the ass in the world.
And stop you.
Yeah. It's the mines and the walls that are an issue. The hydras don't really... The mines aren't really much of a problem, and they can shoot over the walls, but these walls are just ridiculous. Like, it takes far too long to shoot through, and by the time you shot through, you've taken a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of ridiculous, the fact that they had that positive or that helpful or tactical or tactical field, however it was working out. Wouldn't you use something like people putting on a tactical insulator, which might come in handy at this point with these mines? You follow what I'm saying? Before you were performing worse with the tactical insulator than if you had an empty slot. Now it appears that you needed that special for this.
So the special that we were told was completely useless for the raid in which it was offered to us is now useful because they made a new target for reasons.
What's happened, or what I think has happened, is instead of using a build that was designed for the raid target and balancing around that, they've made a new target and then made a build on the bucks, which will do it. So the builds that are going to be good for hitting the base part targets on the map are going to be different to the bucks you need for this sector base.
And also, probably, we don't know at this point what we're going to see in the TLCs as far as the kind of target. We would expect raid target, but I guess we don't know at this point.
As soon as they put in any building or mine or any mechanic that has a particular lean towards the subsector resource base as they currently exist, they have immediately broken their word that our fleets will be good for a year. Now it's only speculative, really. I know that they said, oh, they'll be good for TLCs because I'm sure they'll have really high raw damage numbers and really high raw resistances and deflections and things like that. And that's all well and good. But we just finished a siege cycle. And the holes that we finished them with, well, one of them is not very well fit to do this target. I guess the other one is. But we're about to have a hole that outclasses them in a target on the map. Now, we can work around that by hitting the regular targets, the regular base part targets. And I think that's what a lot of us plan to do. But that Rampage reports mentioned that these proto fleets are going to be balanced for TLCs, which worries me. Because then, why did I build 2 fleets? Now I have to build a third one, and I suddenly have to build 3 fleets per raid cycle, in addition to an FM fleet, which is, what, 20-ish months of build time in a 12-month year? Not counting PvP, but you can use the Conquest Yard for that. And nobody asked for this either. Nobody asked for 4 more fleets. If they changed it and balanced it around the current raid fleets, maybe not the Manticore necessarily. Well, that's not out yet, but if they balance it around what we have now and what we plan to get throughout the year, that might be a neat way for co-op to exist without being inherently difficult or too much in terms of fleet cost for the year. But this is just, I don't see how this is a good decision in any capacity, unless they gave you like millions of base parts for doing it.
Didn't they come out and say? Didn't they come out and say that the Proto Tideseeker was going to be good for one part of it? I have yet to finish it for the skirmish part.
Skirmish part,
the Proto Tides do okay in the skirmish part.
I've yet to be able to finish one.
The repairs
Five of them?
sucks, but I've seen people solo it with the prototypes.
Yeah, I heard if you throw
It
a
sucks,
what
but,
a hunter in.
I think Padre had it down to 3 hours with just solo. So but that's
With
still
5 prototypes or with
five
Apex Hunter?
prototypes. That
Okay.
was 5 prototypes. And 3 hours is still too high for.
Seems to
what
be
you
3
get.
hours is their target number for everything at this point.
Yep.
Because that's about what the FM was running for a while. I know guys are getting it down to an hour. But yeah, this mandatory damage thing is not good for the game.
No, it's not. And the point that you made, Brian, on the TLCs, that also worries me as to what's going to be in these TLCs, because they've plainly stated that these are, high end, top end targets, boss targets. And if necessary, you can still get your needed resources off of the map. But I don't want to be in a position where I say, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and use the standard fleets on the standard map targets, although it'll take more time, and then turn around and go, oops, when a TLC comes out and there's something critical in there that I need that now I can't get.
Has anyone figured out a way to see the mines in any of the SSRB targets?
Somebody posted in chat that from Andrew did from Mark's video that with sonar on it and then a wolf's tooth on there took care of them.
You could
Oh,
with sonar you could actually
okay.
see it.
It's like any other mine, I'd imagine. The Proto Centurion is supposed to have sonar on it, which is completely useless for a siege hull, which is another problem that I
Anomaly.
have. It's like it's not even an anomaly. It's they're trying to build for protos so hard that they have to put in useless garbage that makes no sense in the context of the target. Like, why would you have mines in something in a siege target? And the only reason is to sell something with sonar on a siege ship, which also makes no sense. But that's why you want the proto sent. And I guess, I was considering sonar to see them, but that's right, the wolf's tooth would hit them, which
Yeah.
would be nice, I guess, if the price is quick enough. It's just weird.
Well, I've got a wolf's tooth on my Apex Hunter, and I've got a cryonic depth charge on my Apex Hunter, and it has native 64 sonar range. And when I took it in the target, I could not see the mines.
Now that was the skirmish one, right? Not the siege one.
Yeah, that was in the skirmish one.
Yeah.
Just to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have not had a chance to watch Mark's video. He only posted it this morning, but I think his video was on the siege version.
I don't know.
Yeah,
There's just too many cross pollination areas in the game where you go into siege and you find something else, or you go into skirmish and you find something else. It's not the same game we started off playing. It's anything they can do to screw us to take more damage.
Yeah, I don't like force damage. I don't think anybody likes force damage, but like I said, I just hope that those that are stuck, because people are still finishing their Manticore fleets and people are still going to be refitting for the following raid cycle in order to get their missile versions and not have time to build these new Centurions, which of course are going to be in the raid next week, and then we're going to end up in a situation where something comes along that we have to have and we're hosed.
Yeah.
it's really annoying that we're having to build a new siege hull. Like, I don't think we quite understand just how annoying that is when they say this is going to last a year, and then immediately, what is 2 months after the raid, they've already said no, it's going to be useless now. That's just ridiculous.
Well, the fleet's still valid in the map targets, though.
For how long? They've changed one. Why not change the other? We've already seen the 105s out in the map before, and if you remember how they were, if any of you hit them, they were beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, and those are due to switch over next week, right? After the raid?
Yeah, I mean, but they, what was it, about 3 weeks ago when they put them on the map, and then we said we need to retune them, and we're going to give you a month transition period, and they've yet to reintroduce them to the map. So I'm not sure if our transition period has started yet. There's been no word on those targets.
As long as they take out the 83 and properly tune it, but no faith in that. Just don't have the 83 be a base part target because they haven't fixed the Kraken, and the Kraken is some nonsense.
Well, and also we haven't seen them. We're going to be forced to get another, because the Proto Centurion is coming out. We don't know anything about these targets yet, and
Well,
we're going to be forced.
We do know that the assault one is going to be the Proto Apollo, and that was based on week before last Rampage reports, and they don't have a name yet for the Garrison version.
Yeah, I'm talking about the new. Maybe I'm talking about the wrong thing. The siege map targets, the base part targets, the ones that are going to be on the map.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was still stuck on dubs.
Well, it's sort of related, because if we're going to get the Proto Centurion, which should also make the map targets much easier, which is the what is going to be the next raid prize. We haven't seen what those new targets are going to look like. We saw them in the raid, and we didn't really have that big of a problem with them at all. But then we saw them on the map, and we had a huge problem with them. They were supposed to give us 3 weeks of a preview of.
No, I think we lost Hefe there for a second.
Yeah, they're supposed to give us the preview, and then they pulled them the day of because they can't balance things with anything. I'd actually like to see, what if you hit, it's what, a 102 is the highest Scourge map target now for uranium? 102, 103, whatever the number, the highest one. What if when you hit one and you killed it, and let's say you did it in one shot, so no prepping, what if you got a 12-hour Proto Tideseeker build token? Limit 1 or 2, whatever, but you could just grind that out. And you could just do that, day in, day out. And eventually, you would get a Proto Tideseeker out for free. Because free is about what they were worth at the start. When they first came out, we all thought they were just Kick's answer to, hey, we didn't balance the map targets for Scourge properly for the Hunter, so we're giving you hopefully a slightly better Hunter. But now if they're going to be used for targets, well, we've already built our Hunters. People weren't going to build prototypes. I think I even scrapped the free one that they gave me out of spite, because it felt insulting. But if they're going to be as important as they say they are, building 8 fleets a year and an FM fleet on top of these things, yeah, we're going to need to get some way to speed this up, because otherwise we're not going to have time, and then it's spending hundreds of dollars worth in fleet builds just to keep up. God forbid escalation tech exists, or a mechanic works wrong and we have to change the agility 4s off of our Scorpions because apparently evade and slow resist don't matter against these missiles. Things like that.
Yeah, and somebody else brought up earlier as well. So, we've got our Manties, we've got our Skyfires or our Phoenixes for the map targets right now. We've got our Manties, finishing or refitting or what have you, and then we're eventually going to have these new hull things. We are seriously out of dock space, and that's only going to get worse with the rest of these fleets that are going to come out.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Good. It's what? So proto, skill, auto. For 3 cycles, that's 9. FM is 10, but they're probably going to be a proto icebreaker. So 11, even though held up by fingers. And that's about, we're getting close to half your dock space. Guard fleet, maybe a second guard fleet or some intricate substitutions for your guard fleet. That's 65. That's half your dock space. It conquers this, that, and the other. So finely tuned because they have to be now. And just a few old ships, and you're at your cap, right? Hello?
You cut off for a minute.
Oh, I'm done talking. I just did some doc math, and yeah, that sounds right. Go ahead, Venom.
It's something Exile Irish brought up in chat there. It was the Pro Assault hull won't be released until after the assault cycle. So basically, as soon as the raid's done, the Manticores are now useless. Have another hull.
Yeah, I don't like that, but it makes sense. I mean, we're getting the proto sent now, and we just finished the raid cycle with our Bucks and Hydras. There hasn't been a TLC really that's used them except for like Path to the Continent and that stupid one that was way too hard, even on co-op. The other one for the Charge Storm. And yeah, just it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like I had a lot of fun with my holes. I mean, it sent them on auto and ran targets, and that was all right, but
It feels like they're saying because you only have to build one hull for the raid, technically, because there's only one target to do. They're giving us a second hull after the raid to do a different target on the map. So yes, they've stuck by saying you're only going to need one hull for raids, but after raids now you're going to have two. Right.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but if they were going to do that, I think it would be helpful if they communicated that to us in something more, because we've been used to having two hulls, and now they're giving us two versions of it. Communicate it to us, and let us choose at the beginning. Give us all the tech. Don't make us wait a month. Force us to make one build, and then have to either refit it or build another hull. Allow us to make that choice at the beginning and move forward with that.
it would have been a lot better if the build that they forced us to start with didn't suck. Normally I have a more eloquent way to phrase that, but when the best build out there, as far as we can tell within the month time that we have, even for fully built hulls, when that's taking 4 hours of damage raid time, when you drive it as intended in the highest target, that's not a success. If you can get it to an hour and a half with fancy gymnastics and incredible skill, I'll just make the skill hull. Like that, they're forcing us to refit off or hope they balance to make the scatter holes better in the next raid, and kicks eye and balance.
Yeah, that was something, and I brought that up in multiple venues. That was really frustrating for me because, like everybody, well, not like everybody. I mean, I'm an optimist. I was thinking, okay, one hole, cool, sweet. Only have to build one. Off we go. And so, I went the scatter version, and then they threw the TLC in like the week before the raid, and then it turned out that the auto scatter version didn't work as well as I guess what our expectations were, and my expectations weren't over the top. I don't expect to use an auto hull and be able to do 20 targets for free. I know I'm going to take some damage, but so now I'm having to refit my Manticore hulls, and if this is going to be the situation from now on, yes, I don't necessarily have to build the hulls, but when it's 3 days for the hull and 9 or 10 days for the refit, I'm not saving a huge amount of time on those hulls. But let me. We've got about 20 minutes here. Speaking of the raid coming up next week, I'm just going to run through the guys. So Venom, what are you going to be using for the raid?
I have a fleet of scatter manticores done. I'm not terribly thrilled about it, but I wasn't throwing more coin on to try and change it all to missiles. So I'm sticking with it and hoping they don't dramatically increase the damage from last time. If they do, I'm probably just not going to do the raid.
What kind of measures are you using?
I have one sprint on 2 hulls and then one Phalanx 4 on both of them, and then 2 Phalanx 4s and the rest.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people are using the mixed counters with some with phalanx and some with sprints. Rum, what are you going to be using?
Oh, I'm pretty sure anybody can answer for me. Katie's?
Dick.
But the quick question is, are you pimping it out? How much will it cost to rent said Katie's? No, I'm just
Yeah, just whatever can be paid.
I just
yeah,
imagine the Katie's on a street corner now, and I'm not approaching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, and I'm the big pimp daddy with a big feather hat.
I was just going to say I was
Oh.
picturing Rum in a lime green suit with me.
That's it.
One of those velvet ones. But okay, so you're going. So do you have a backup plan for the Katies, or?
Yeah, I do. I've got both scatter and missile fleets, but they're only 4 fleet total, not 5. I've got the flag for both and 3 of the other hulls.
Well, Rum, I think I have good news for you.
What?
Because according to yesterday's Rampage reports, in the TLC, you are going to get a CIC that can sort of integrate your fleets. Now, how much would you pay? What?
I don't know. Yeah, what?
I don't know either.
Integrate
The-
fleets.
The
CIC for
CIC,
what?
the CIC that was mentioned is supposed to match Andrew saying missile mantis and scatter mantis speed wise. So if you've got a mixed fleet, if you refit again and put this new CIC on, my understanding is that you don't have to worry about doing other changes to make sure that the speeds match.
Put them on all of them, or put them on the
I guess one or the
Makara?
other.
See, if you put it on the Makara and it made all of them work together, that'd be nice. That'd be less
I think I'm sorry. I think what they mentioned it doing is up scatter reload, and then your Scorpion shell. I guess that means the Berserk aura lasts longer, which I guess is fine, and it matches the speed. It doesn't. From those 3, I didn't gather anything that's a bonus to missiles in particular, except for like the speed matching. But if you're running on missiles, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we're losing you there, Brian, I think. But
Yeah,
so hopefully,
I've been having problems. All right.
yeah, no, that's okay. Hopefully the CIC will make it easier for those that are running mixed fleets. And Hefe, what are you going to be sporting for the raid?
Just some scatter mana cores with the Terra, and hopefully that'll work.
Okay, yeah.
Work better than it did last raid.
I'm very hopeful that it will. Daniel, you said you had come back from a wee vacation. Now, what are you using?
Well, fortunately, I have the Katies, so hopefully that works. And I'm building Manticore right now.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad.
Version.
Missile.
Okay. Brian, what are you using?
I think I should have everything refitted to missile. I only have the one fleet. I didn't want to start blanks. And then I have to make a decision very soon, actually, about whether I want to get another set of blanks using my FM tokens, or whether I want to refit to as good of a specials as I can, because I don't have like Strike System 5 on them yet. They're still being converted over. So I could make Strike System and the Reactive Armor and these other, I think I had to change like 4 specials on each. I have to figure that out.
Yeah.
And just hope it works.
Well, I am running the Rue mixed fleet trademark. I think I'm going to have 3 missiles and 2 scatters, which I know is going to cause problems with speed and ranges, but I just did not have the time to get all of the refits done. So I'm going to be in that situation, and I'm hopeful that we will see some tokens in the raid this time. I know we didn't have any last time. And I've still got the FM to do for this week, so that might help bring one in, but I'm not going to be completely all matching fleets, and then I'm sure I'm going to have to do some refits afterwards.
Can
But
they reduce the price of them tokens as well? The last raid the tokens were like 6 to 7 million each. That wasn't fun.
Yes, and we did point that out on the raid review where we actually mapped tokens. I went back. That wasn't fun. I went back to like 4 raids and looked at not only points but also what the token cost was for things, and there was a significant increase in token price and a significant decrease in points. And even with the I think it was the 80 sets where it was only 2 targets, are we going to still only see 2 targets this time, or are we going to now see 3 and still the increase in prices on the prizes? So that will be interesting to see. Anybody else have anything on the raid?
Ready to get on to the next cycle. Tired of this one already after one. The way we got brutalized.
Guys, but we can buy limited missiles and limited scatter guns. So Rue, after you buy that whatever CIC to make your Rue mixed fleet trademark all better, let's say, you can buy a missile that has the exact same stats as the current missile, but it gives you a combat speed boost. Yay!
Is it limited?
It is limited. Yeah,
Wow.
yesterday you said it. It's in your missile blueprint. It's so bad.
I'm sorry. I have to share this. I guess this is in reference to Brian's headphones.
Oh.
Man, Brian looks a lot better in that picture. I don't know what the deal is.
So the thing is, if you pump the bass loud enough, you might actually be able to rupture internal organs.
Yeah, I think you would.
That's a thing.
Yep.
No, like it's actually a way that you can die.
No, I
really
I
low
believe
frequency,
we have
something.
people, and you can feel the bass. But okay, well, so we talked about the TLCs, we talked about the raid, we talked about the PvP. We've got about just over 10 minutes left, so I guess open mic. Anybody got anything they want to throw out there on the table?
Screw your new raid prizes. Like, unless that combat speed buff is like 50% or something, and they're only, I don't know, 1 million to get per missile. And because really, we're probably only going to have a limit of 5. Then that was a complete waste of time, because limited weapons
No, we're losing you again there, Brian.
worked
Sorry.
out well. I'm not sure if they ever have. I'll someone else go.
Well, Rum, you got anything you want to throw on the table?
Not right now. No, I just hope Kick straightens up.
Okay. Yeah. Venom always has something to throw on the table.
Battlefield Fun's 1 is quite fun at the moment.
Not that kind of throw on the table.
Well, I can't do anything else. I'm bored. So, yeah. BP's kind of got nothing in it at the moment to do.
Yeah, I've noticed a significant, I've been busy this week, but I've noticed a significant drop in participation. I'm not sure if this PvP change, I'm hopeful that the PvP change will be implemented with a lot of testing and done properly, and not just, kind of tossed over the fence and into the game. And so I'm hopeful that people will actually see that as a positive change, and it will be a positive change, and that we'll see some base hitting return, because it's kind of dead out there right now. I've been hit once, or I peaked a lot, but I've only been hit once in weeks now.
No, you can really only hit. Well, the top players can really only hit 1 in like 100 bases, if that. Like, I've picked like most of the world on the player leaderboard, and there's really like I've hit 1 person out of all of them. So yeah, it's not much fun. It's quite boring.
Yeah, and that's a key thing. And players say this all the time, and we all feel it. We've all got friends in the game. We've got people that we've played with. I've only been on the game for 3 years, but I know there's other people that have been on for 20 years, if you listen to them talk, since before Blackwater days and that kind of stuff. But there are so many people that have, made solid friendships in the game, and they still want to play. But, if you can't do anything, then even with that friendship, it kind of stops. People just have no reason to log in. So people want the game to be fun. They don't want to have a PhD in physics or maths to be able to understand things. They want to go out and smash stuff. They don't want to spend a whole bunch of time doing stupid chores. And I'm hopeful that with recent activities that Kix is, we're seeing a response to the PvP. I'm hopeful that the subsector core bases, when they do get them put out enough resources so that if I do go in there and hit it with a fleet, and I get 3 hours damage, but it fills me up of whatever it is that I'm looking for, that, I can just park my fleets and repair, and then I can actually go out and do more fun stuff.
Yep. There was one
Except
other
a
thing.
degree in math. Go ahead.
There was one other thing that just popped back into my head. There was a rumor about GDR, if anyone had seen that. Does anyone know about that? No?
Or
There was talk of GDR leaving, but I don't know if there's any truth to it.
I have not seen anything confirmed officially.
No idea.
I know at least one player somewhere has changed their name to along the lines of saying goodbye GDR. So
Yeah, well, in this game, rumors are rife, and so until we hear something specific from Kix. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but if he has, then the best of luck to him. I'm not exactly sure where or what, but I have no idea, and I'm hoping that it's not true. But,
he did good. He does good. He will do good. I don't know what tense to use because I don't know what's actually true. But there we are.
I enjoy interaction with him, and he does love the game and does enjoy playing it, and he does play it, and working with the players. So I certainly hope it's not. But again, until we hear something official, then all we can go with is that it's just a rumor. But
I hope that's all it is, because I think he was a player advocate among very few up there.
Yeah. Daniel, you got anything you want to talk about? I know you said you recently come back and you were having to make room in your dock, I think.
Yeah, I was scrapping all my Conquerors. Well, just scrap all my prides and a couple of Inquisitors. That's all. But apparently, Kixeye gave me a fleet of Skyfire carriers, so I'm scrapping those too.
You might want to, if you're still building Manties, you might actually want to hold on to those. There were a couple of videos that were posted last raid where people were using a combination of a couple of finished Manties and Skyfires, and they were hitting the 80s targets with that. So if you can hold off for a couple of weeks, then you might want to keep them.
Daniel spoiled. He has a Katie's as well.
The problem is that I have the same exact fleet. Like, it's a duplicate of my current Skyfire fleet. So it's like,
well, you didn't say that. It's like it was the only one you had.
No. It's like they gave me a fleet that I already had.
Oh.
The only thing I'll probably keep is probably the gut spills.
Yeah. Trade that out as necessary to heal the others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so someone is posting, Wayne is posting, I guess if something is on the forums, apparently GDR has moved on due to family obligations. He will be missed with the team, and we wish him all the best. So it does look like it is not a rumor, and that GDR is leaving the game. Very, very sorry to hear that. Really, really enjoyed his interaction with the players and his willingness to help not only the TFC but also other players and other pages with information. So I'm very sorry to hear that.
Me as well.
Yeah, but okay. Does anybody have anything else?
Nope.
Okay, well then let's just go ahead and finish it a couple minutes.
Can I try my rant again?
Sorry?
Can I try my rant again? Because I was breaking up apparently.
Yeah, we were losing you. Quick rant.
Okay, quick rant. Yeah, the new prizes, the limited missile and the limited scatter, that it should have the same stats but a combat speed boost. I don't see why they're there. I think that's a really bad idea because we'd have to win them, refit them, and for what? They need a huge combat speed boost. They need to be really quick to build. They need to be really quick to acquire in order for them to be even somewhat viable. And I think they're going to tune for that in the next two raids, the last two raids of the cycle. So I think this is a terrible decision all around, but I guess I'll wait and see. Good, done.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you to everybody that joined us on the panel tonight. Really appreciate your insight and input, and a big thank you to those of you that were in chat tonight. It's always good to have folks there sharing their information as well as some of the funny comments. It's always nice to get back and look at them and have a laugh later on. And for those that don't know, Mark has got a video out on the page with the subsector core base out there, the DRAC bases. So if you've not seen that on the page, I highly recommend going out there to take a look at that. It does give some tips and tricks, and will certainly help with those. And I guess we'll see you guys next week on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when the update is. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.